Now, Mr. Sam, go ahead and sit down so you can see. This
I'm
is,
just, y'all go ahead, don't worry about me, I'll make it over here in a little while.
Okay, want to welcome everybody. I know it's a small group, but it's quantity, not quality, right? I mean, quality, not quantity. I said that backwards with everything. Yeah, I know with the, kind of the COVID outbreak and everything, again, we're having to, people are kind of going to lock down again. We had to implement the masks and everything again, which is, we're fine. We're managing it. It's all fine. We'll get through it. But we're going to stay as active as we can. Even if things change again. Y'all know we've been having a lot of things going on. And I just want to kind of update everybody a little bit on some of the things that have happened and possibly will happen. One of the main things we've talked about in the last couple of meetings and the officers have been dealing with is looking for a permanent location, building space-wise, that Bragg can have, where we can have meetings there like this. And our own galleries and workshops and things like that. And we've been looking at a few locations. Nothing has come through yet, so we're still looking, but we're also still looking for suggestions and ideas. If anybody has any ideas or suggestions that we can look at and possibly consider, because we don't have a lot of money, but I think if we can get a building and get established in a place, I think that will help us out a lot, where people know where we're gonna be and that sort of thing, and they're not going from this place to that place and the others. So even though I certainly don't mind Colin, using this space right here is perfectly fine, but I know it's a little out of the way when the weather gets bad and that sort of stuff. But we're excited about that. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Well, the place down by the newspaper that fall through,
Well, it's still up in the air, but we don't want to stop looking yet.
Oh, okay.
Because we don't know. We're trying to still keep our options open, because if it comes through, that's great. But if it doesn't, we don't want to be starting from ground zero again. And so we've got a few places that we're still looking into to see what will work for us. We don't really need a huge space, but we do. We need spaces we can do things like this. Yes.
there's a place out on Zetas Road, and it could have been a year ago, who knows? I know it was before January of this year. I kept saying, I want a she shed, so Steve, so he found this place that was out on Zetas Road, and it's not very far out there, and it used to be a little store or something, and it's on the left-hand side, and it was like 60.
old Opera House.
No, sir, it's on.
No, that's on 550. This is right there at the railroad where the railroad.
No, not before you get to, it's before you get to the railroad.
Oh, okay.
And he said it's got a bathroom, and it's got 2 rooms, and he said you can put your pottery thing in this, blah 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 blah. It had 450, 250, whatever that is, I don't know. And I said, well, Steve, I said, I go out like to be at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I need to be leaving here at 2 o'clock in the morning by myself. Then some women bought it or rented it, and they had put in a little craft store. But I heard, somebody told me about a month or 2 ago that they were closing out, so they must be fixing to let it go. So I don't know if it's coming back out on the market.
Well, is there any way you could find out some information, somebody could contact?
Yeah, I can try.
Well, we'll look
I'll
at,
try.
we prefer honestly to have something in town.
Right.
But at this point, I think we'll consider anything at this point, don't you think?
Well, this one had plenty of parking out
Yeah.
back and parking in the front, and a bathroom with a little kitchenette type thing there. And it had one big room that was, I guess, as wide as from here over to there, if not wider.
Okay.
And maybe not quite this long, and then it had another one that was separate.
That
building.
sounds like a good space.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if y'all know of any wealthy benefactors that have money that they need to
I'm waiting for that lottery.
give away for tax purposes, we're a fine organization that could go into to help us out. Okay?
Well, I can help you out a little, not a whole lot, but I can help you out some.
Well, anytime you want to, that would be great. That'd be great. But once we start getting a little more established with locations, we're going to come up with some plans and be putting them out there for everybody. So everybody knows what's going on, and opportunities actually for people that want to. Like if somebody wants to say, hey, I'm going to pay the rent for this month. I'm going to be responsible for January or something like that. All of that could help. I told Derek I could do something like that as well.
Yeah, well, me and him were talking, I told him about, I would cover a month's rent somewhere under, Low didn't go over $1,000, but I donated $1,000 to them.
Oh, sweet of you, very good. And I think if we could just get our, our teeth in somewhere, I think that would just help us tremendously.
But if you want to write a check, I'll sign it. My writing ain't no good, but my check is.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Joanne is not here tonight, she's our treasurer, so if you'll just hang on to that, we will get it from you and get it to her. Well, actually, we could take it and get it to Joanna, I can get it to her.
Yeah.
Well, is she at work though? I don't know how to get it to her.
She's quarantined too, isn't she?
Yeah, they're all quarantined, just hold up on it, because I don't know how to get it to her, they're all in quarantine right now.
And there may be a time when we really need that $1,000 and we don't. Like,
Well,
I wanna
all you
make sure
gotta
that we
do is
have it.
holler. If I could afford it, I'd just go ahead and build a place. I can't afford that.
Aren't you sweet?
I'd have to hit the lottery.
Well, there's a lot of things we're considering. In a space like you were talking about, it may be more to our benefit if we can get them to talk down the price a little and purchase something outright. But
Yeah.
we need to have our grant status, we need to have all of this stuff in order to get quick money, because we don't have that much money. We have, what is it, around $8,000?
Yeah, we have around $8,000.
So everywhere that we're looking at just to rent, and we're looking at, I think we were able to put together the offer for the last place of $400 a month. So we're needing compassion. We're not able to go and jump and buy this building. We're stepping our foot into it.
Well, I will try to ride out that way tomorrow and look at it and see if it's got a sign or anything, and
I even mentioned to Pam about the McGee Graphic Building, and she said that she was not interested right now because she had somebody paying the rent and that y'all were using it, I think, one night a week or something like that. And I just told us, well, if anything changes, let us know. So I just kind of left it at that.
the
Okay.
McGee Graphic Building,
Well, where y'all are doing your
Mid-South.
Mid-South, yeah, Mid-South.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, it was something graphic going
Okay,
out there.
yeah.
Anyway, we'll come back to that. We'll revisit that and
When
continue
the
working.
time is right, it will appear.
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said.
If it don't fit, don't
Well,
post it.
definitely need a place, Bragg's own place, where
Yes,
we
we
won't
do.
be jumping here and yonder and
Absolutely.
really,
That's
we
exactly.
really need their own building.
Yeah, I think so as well. And a place that I think as a group, we feel it's our home that we can use, and
Yeah.
not just for our monthly meetings, for other things.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody wanted to do a workshop, like you wanted to do a workshop on this, it'd be a place as a brag member, that you could, things like that.
And things like that will also help to pay our rent, because if you cut us a little bit and you've got this space to use, or, or we come together and throw workshops for the community, and there's lots of ways to bread and butter our situation. But again, it all has to be done in a location.
In a location, yes. Yeah, they won't let us just do it in tents out on the street anymore. Anyway, okay. The next major event that we have coming up is actually the Old Brook Festival, which is the first weekend in October. Okay, and we've got we're gonna get four tent places rented, and we've got a great location right across from the Chamber of Commerce building. And Bree Moore is going to join. She was going to try to make it tonight, but she had to do something with her kids. But she's going to help us out by doing some portraits on site there, and we've got some other activities and things planned there, and we're going to be needing some help and volunteers and that sort of thing. One of the things we're going to do at the Old Brook Festival this year is we're going to do like a small works sale, like we have a lot of members that do, like the really nice paintings and that sort of stuff, but we also have members that do smaller things like
Craft.
the jewelry and things.
Craft.
So what we're going to plan to do is have artists bring in things to sell under, $20, $25 to sell, because those are really the things that sell at these types of flea markets. We can exhibit all those big paintings, but it's a pain in the butt to get them there, to worry about them, and then they're more than likely not going to sell. When, as we say, I call it the bread and butter things. Most people that do artwork, I know I do, I make jewelry as well, smaller things, smaller pieces of pottery that you can sell cheaper and more of it. And so we want to kind of focus on some of those things at the Old Brook Festival.
Well, I
this
can't
year.
come. I've already committed myself to sale at the Pike County Fair. They're gonna do, when the fair is on October the 2nd, they're gonna have an arts and crafts show.
Well, you were just out, mister.
Well,
You're out of it.
Well, but the last one I went to, I sold 36 paintings out there.
Well, if you have any paintings you want to sell for under $25,
That's what I
we'll
get for
sell them for
mine,
you.
$25. But I-
No, we cut out art. We cut
Oh,
out.
that's right, we did cut out the art,
We're-
I'm sorry, we're just.
Because we do so many
Yeah.
events throughout the year for our fine art and hanging art, we wanted to focus in on our craft members
Yeah, you're
of
right,
the guild.
never mind, we don't want your
And
final
so-
art.
Okay, that's great. Go.
Your pottery,
Oh.
your jewelry, your greeting cards would fall under that
Christmas
category.
ornaments. you know.
Anything, and really, we say 25, but 15 would pretty much cap. You know, remember it's Old Brook Festival and everybody's walking around with bucks in their pocket, you know, not
I have a
50s.
bunch of earrings I made a couple of years ago for Christmas. Out of buttons and different things.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
I'll have to pull them out. I do actually know. where they
Anyway,
are.
we'll be
Let's-
sending out some more information stuff on that, but I think that's gonna be fun, this year. We'll have some other fun things going on. If they have it, you know, let's
Yeah,
hope that everything's not
it's all
shut
still
down.
tentative.
You know,
But I
be
said-
fluid and flexible, that's what we say here at Cole Inn every time something, be fluid and flexible, like, I feel like I live one this, you know?
I sell 5 or 6 paints at the house every week.
We just hate you.
Well, I'm used to it, go ahead, it don't bother me.
No, I'm tickled to death, I'm proud, I'm so happy. That's wonderful. Is there any other business or anything, any questions about anything anybody has? Okay, I will mention this, we are gonna be doing the, election of the officers and things that's gonna be coming up. And we are compiling a list of people, that have shown an interest or that we may reach out to, because we do need some more people to get involved in the running of brag. And so, again, we're trying to get some people that will participate, but we don't want to overwhelm anybody, because I know we've had a habit in the past of taking a few people that will work and working them to death, and then they get burnt out, and that was one of them right there. Okay, I don't want to run him off, and we've got to burn him out. And so.
I don't see how he does.
I don't either. I'm gonna be stepping down as president this year. Derek will be stepping up since he's vice president. He'll be stepping into the president position. But I'm not gonna step out of brag. I'm gonna head up a committee or two so that I can still be participating and active and tell Derek what to do. Okay, just joking.
He really needs that. He
But
needs-
yeah, I want to still stay active, and I will be retiring at the end of this year. This is my last year to teach at Cole Inn, and so when I retire, I will have, hopefully, more free time, and I won't just stay home and be a slug, hopefully. Okay, all right. So, having said all of that, I think that's enough yakking on my part, unless you guys have something else. I want to introduce to you Leigh Fowler over here. She has so generously, she was supposed to come a couple months ago and had a family emergency or something, so we didn't get her. So now we have her tonight, and she's brought her stuff, and she's going to show us about her poured paintings. I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to let you talk.
Okay.
Okay? And if there's anything you need or that I can get for you, I'll jump up and do it. Okay? And I'm going to just
I do know I'm gonna need paper towels.
Oh, I got
Because I
those.
didn't grab those.
look, ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been painting like all of my life, drawing, sketching, that kind of stuff. About a year and a half ago, I got bored one night and saw on YouTube somebody doing some paint pours, and I was like, that looks like fun because they're painting with a hairdryer. I want to try it. So I went out and I bought a hairdryer and I bought a couple of small canvases, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I can learn how to do this. And so just kind of went from there, and then slowly tried different things, mostly learning from watching YouTube videos. And actually the first thing that I put anything in was the art show back in May, and it actually placed, totally to my surprise. I was like completely shocked, but okay. So, but I thought what we would do today, I'd just show you a few things of what I do. I did the big paintings, I did the little paintings, I've done clocks using old records, necklaces, including the necklace that I got on, and then some coasters that I pour on, and then I seal everything with resin. And then I save my leftovers.
I love this.
I save my leftovers, and that's what I use to make the necklaces. You can make magnets. I've it actually got some earrings to do recently. I just haven't done any yet. Put them on cards, so you've got a hand-painted custom card, and really just anything you can think of, like I did the back of my phone.
Is that just that goes on the plastic?
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
And I just save it and go from there. So what I use to mix everything up with is I use Floetrol, and I get, this is Home Depot for what, 15 bucks for a gallon. It's paint extender. It's what house painters use to put on the paint to make it go further when they're painting houses. So I use this, and I get, and I didn't bring it, but pre-stained wood conditioner from Home Depot. And I take a little medicine dropper, and I use one medicine dropper to one thing of Floetrol. So that's just what I found to be the easiest to remember, instead of getting out my scales and weighing everything. Most of the time when I mix, if I'm using liquid paint like this, or I'll use the bragARTS craft paint, either one. I really like the bragARTS. The bragARTS does really well. I mix equal parts of the paint and the Floetrol, and then half that amount water. So I didn't bring any pewter. Okay, so I'll mix some up for you. And I'm just gonna eyeball it because I didn't bring my stuff.
What do you need for it? I might have it.
Scales.
I do, they're in the ceramics room.
No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I am gonna shake it up though. Oh yeah, I forgot about the cups. I made the tumblers too. I'm just like whatever. I'm like, ooh, that looks like fun. I'll paint it. Let's see what happens.
If it stands still long enough, you paint it.
Uh-huh. That's probably way too much fun.
You pour paint like me.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting it on my floor. I finally put down plastic on my floor. But the tile on my floor in our dining room is ruined. It's just ruined.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's all.
It's okay.
It's okay. You can replace it, right?
Now, what is that? That's the Floetrol?
This is the Floetrol already mixed with the wood conditioner.
And that's bragARTS
Yeah, this is the bragARTS
right there.
metallics.
Okay.
But if I see a color that I like, I'll grab it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it all has to be acrylic based.
Yeah, acrylic based. However, I have done with some satin enamels. And I didn't bring any tonight, but I like to use for my base coat house paint.
It's like wine house paint or?
White house paint, black house paint, whatever.
You don't mind if I take some pictures?
No, I don't mind at all.
A water-based house paint?
Just your latex house paint. And then you want to just mix it really good and then put enough water in it. And I learned by mistake, add a little bit at a time, if you're not measuring, which I'm bad about not measuring.
You know, it's so bad about that.
Yeah. But you want it just to kind of flow off. And if you're doing a pour with the hair dryer and you're blowing it, you want it to not make any mound, like it sinks right down in there. If you're doing a pour where you're just pouring it onto the canvas and moving it around, you want it to be like pancake batter where it does like a mound on top of a mound. A little bit. So since we have this pretty pewter color, I've gotten into metallics a lot lately. And that's still a little thick. And once you start making it, you learn, you can feel the consistency and know if it's good or not. So I figured that I would show you, let's see. We'll do the big one with the hairdryer first because it gets everywhere. show you somewhere you just pour it. So. And I may not have mixed up enough, and that's okay if I didn't. There are no mistakes. It's just if you like it, and if you don't, you can always scrape it off. People do this all different ways, but I have found that this is the easier way for me to spread it on the canvas. Ooh, and I made a bad mistake. I did not check to see if it was level first. Because if it's not level, it'll, as it's drying, it'll flood. And then I just take my fingers and make sure the side is covered. All right, so like I said, I've been on a metallic kick lately. And you can do this in any, you can do straight lines. You can do a puddle on top of a puddle on top of a puddle and layer it that way. But I've gotten where I like to do something like that lately.
And there's no two alike. There's no way to make
No, there's no way, even if you wanted, even if you have a preconceived idea, you can get a generalized whatever.
Are all of these paints the same consistency, or does it do different with different consistencies?
It does different with different consistencies, so that's why I've gotten where I go by feel instead of measuring a lot, because the metallics are a little bit thicker usually, so you have to put a little bit more water in those. Let's see, we don't have any silver yet.
Now, you don't use any silicone in it to make it.
I have, but the wood conditioner helps the cells.
Okay.
Without the silicone, if you don't get all of the silicone off before you resin it, that silicone resists the resin, and you have little pits and divots, and then you have to re-resin again. You have to clean it off and then re-resin. Not clean the resin off, but you have to clean that area because you can just pour resin over it.
I'm sorry to walk out. My daughter was calling me from Poland.
Oh, goodness gracious. Of course you walk out and you take that phone call. Absolutely.
I should turn it off though.
No, you're fine. All right, so, and then you just decide which way you want to do it. So I think what I'll do is I'll do kind of a zigzag kind of thing. And then I use my little bitty leaf blower. It's my favorite.
That is so cute. Where did you find that?
I found it on Amazon, and it's actually called the world's smallest leaf blower.
It's a fun.
Oh, pretty.
And then I can get more of the like feathering lines. And you can blow back into it to make it go back in. Oops, that's on the back. And if there's a part that you don't like, and I'm not going to do it with this one because I don't have any more pewter paint, but you can scrape it off. I'll show you on another one where you just scrape it off. And then you torch it. It pops air bubbles, and it also, the heat, I don't know if y'all can see them or not, but they're little bitty cells that are popping up.
Oh, I see.
And that's the reaction with the paint conditioner and the reaction of the different paints. So that's how you do it, or how I do it
Pretty, pretty.
I
with
need
that.
7 more hands so I can give you applause.
That was fun.
Thank you. It is fun. And look, I did it in what? How long? So, and then it usually, I let them dry. Some I'm really bad about. How long have I got some sitting that have been
I just
probably?
know that as soon as you do that, as soon as I hear the hair dryer here, come see if there are any air bubbles.
He's my eyes, y'all. As the older I've gotten, I can't see. Even if I take my glasses off, I cannot see, and I have to
Here's
get
one,
him
here's one,
to.
here's one, here's one. That's good.
He has to help me find my air bubbles, especially with the resin.
That's good.
And you let it dry. Let this cure really good for a couple of weeks before you put resin on it. But now I've got some that are.
A couple of weeks.
I've got some that are like a year that I haven't resined yet. That I just keep putting it off.
It's not because you have to.
No, you don't have to. You can just leave it like this.
Yeah.
And not do the resin.
But it
But
looks
the
better with
resin
the
is what
resin.
gives you the shiny
It
coat.
looks way better with the resin.
It looks so much better with the
Yeah.
resin. So,
What type of resin do you like
I meant to bring a bottle of it. I go to Home Depot, and it's usually on the floor up underneath the stains.
best? Okay.
And you can get it in like little bottles like this. You have to mix it equal parts. It's a two-part epoxy.
Or epoxy?
And it's equal parts, 1 to 1. But I've gotten where I buy the big gallon. And it's expensive. It's like $60 for a gallon.
Yeah, but it goes a long way, I'm sure, doesn't it?
No.
No, I was gonna say, as thick as you're putting it.
Not when you're doing this, no.
Right.
No, not at
Yes.
all. Okay, so let's do, I'll layer one. All right, so when you're layering and you're doing a flip cup, you can do a dirty pour or you can do it really straight. And a dirty pour is where
Like a
you.
bar.
It's like, that's when I bartended.
It's a martini.
Your dirty pour has olive juice.
Dirty pour?
This is a little liquidy. Huh, okay. We'll see how this turns out. So for the dirty pour, you just take it, and what you want it to do is you want it to go straight to the bottom. And kind of, so it doesn't mix, but it's filling up. I don't know, what other color should we put in here? Let's put some silver in it. And then for the dirty pour, this is the really messy part, and this is gonna be way too much paint.
Missing it. Hang on, don't do it yet. Ah, you did it. That's okay.
I'm sorry, I thought I waited for you.
That's all right.
All right, so then can you see all those air bubbles that are in it?
I can see it from here.
There are air bubbles everywhere, so you pour some to get rid of the air bubbles. And then you just stretch it, but you stretch it nice and slow. Kind of lost all that black, didn't we?
It's in there.
Looks like dragon skin.
Uh-huh. I have a bunch that I've actually named after like Sleeping Dragon, Mystical Dragon.
Isn't that interesting?
And then you make sure your corners are covered. And this is how I do the coasters for the most part. That's But you get the idea with that one.
Oh,
It's a lot of fun.
that's impressive.
It's fun and messy, that's.
It's fun and messy.
What I,
Like I have on clothes that don't have paint on them. It's
What?
shocking.
Do you have a similar situation
I
like
have
that?
a setup. He built me. I took 2 3-shelf bookshelves and put them like on my ends so I can use storage. And then they're on top of what 4x4s. So I raised them so they'd be like right here. And then we took an old heavy door and put on top of it.
Cool.
And that's what I use.
This is fascinating. Beautiful.
So let's do one with a black background. And people do this all different ways as to cover their canvases. Some are real prim and proper. Me, I'm just like, get it on there.
And the stuff that's dripping off is what you let dry and peel off, that's in your book. Okay.
That's what I
Yeah.
use for my book.
Yeah.
You could call that your appealing book.
Yes. Oh, I could, couldn't I?
Uh-huh.
Sounds like something my daughter would have come up with.
Is that tape on the back there to keep them from sliding?
No, it's actually to keep paint from getting to the back of the painting, but half the time I forget to do
Okay.
that. But I thought I'd show you. Plus, when you resin, it's easier if you have it taped off
Okay.
because the little drips of the resin, when they get dry, they're really hard to get off. So you heat them. What we have found is he's shaking his head. He hates it because he's my person that does that. But we have found that it's easier if you put the tape on the back and after the resin cures for like 24, 48 hours, heat it up just a little bit with a hairdryer and then peel it off with the tape. Those little drips will just come right off.
Cool.
So,
Those little things.
those are things that it's taken me 1.5 years to learn. So, okay, this is a puddle inside of a puddle. Let's add some blue. And you don't want this to go down again. You want this just to kind of layer. I didn't mix any white. This may be mixed. I don't know. We'll see. It'll blow some if it's not. It just won't blow a lot. No, it's not mixed. Let me grab my... And then you just kind of decide which way you want to go with it. See that white's not blowing, but that's okay. I'm gonna blow some on top of it. And that white's really mixing with that black really good, and you're getting those good cells. And I'm not playing with them. I'm just doing just like a short whatever.
I understand.
Because when they're dry, you can go in and you can touch up with a brush and put, you know, like fix little fine lines and stuff if you want to. Or we can say, ooh, I want some of that white to come here. I can take it and I can just drag it through.
Oh. My car would be where to stop.
Uh-huh.
Because you'll make mud if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will make mud. If you mess with it too long, it makes mud.
Yeah, call me that.
So you can just drag through it. And I'm just showing, that's not, I wouldn't leave that there, but I'm just showing y'all how, that's what I do.
It's so cool. And I have a
Okay.
What are you gonna do with these when you try to leave here tonight?
That's a good thought.
Well, I mean, you are a member of our art guild, so we can we can hold on to them for you.
Yeah, I mean, they're actually, there's nothing, if you needed to stay here for a
Can
couple
they
of
stay
days.
here for a couple of days?
They can, yeah.
Okay, I'll come back and I'll get them like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
That'd be great. Because actually, we had talked about that in June, but we didn't talk about that
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah, there's no classes on this part of the room, and,
Okay.
we don't have any classes on Friday anyway, so they'll be fine through the weekend.
All right, so this is how you layer when you're not doing the dirty pour. You want it to like flow down the side of the cup and land on top of the previous color. And these are just colors that I have mixed up already that I've been doing stuff with that I just grabbed. I didn't even look at what colors I had.
About to fall down.
Did you join the art yard last? Did you join the art yard last time? Okay, all right, you're still on this for January. We'll re-up it in January, just remember.
And then this is what's called a ring pour. And you just pour in little circles. There's that light blue.
Oh, that's just mesmerizing.
And whatever you put in last is what's gonna be in the middle. I mean, whatever you put in first is gonna be what's in the middle.
So you've got a phone.
And mine is
Well, I'm
a
lucky,
traveling
ain't
ring
I?
pour, but that's okay. And then you can just stretch it out like this if you want to. Or see when the heat hits it, those other colors pop through. Or you can wreck it. It doesn't matter. You just wreck it. I'm not as good at these as I am the ones with the dryers, where I blow the air.
I
All
did
those
some of this
cells
when I
are
was in
opening up.
college, but not extensively.
Mm-hmm. But it's always better to have too much paint than not enough. Let's see, I want to get some of that gold off of there. I think there's too much gold.
Ooh, ah.
You lose more paint than you use. So.
That's why I save it and I use it making necklaces and stuff. So then you have.
Ooh.
Yay.
I'm gonna tear you off some more.
I'm trying to think. You can pour it, I've taken spice jars, empty spice jars, and layered the paint in the spice jar. And then pour it on there however you want. And you get a design. You can do it through strainers. Anything, like a grill grate, you know.
I've seen them take rope or string
Mhm.
and put in there.
I've done
pour
some
and
that have
then
done,
pour.
like, you remember the string pulls like we did when we were in school?
Mhm.
I've done some string pulls. It's like, I'm like, oh, that's so much fun.
One of my favorite pour paint artists sets everything up on a pendulum and does it in a bucket.
Uh-huh.
And he performs. He takes the whole act places and performs for big crowds, and it's neat.
Sweet. Leah, we gotta work that up now for us.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna need that next month, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Y'all want me on that?
Next week.
I don't think my full-time job's gonna let me figure that one out.
Pendulum, a trapeze, some live animals.
Ooh, I'm getting paint all over the floor.
Yeah, we'll get it, don't worry about it.
Let's see. I'll do another pour where I blow it, and I'll show you where you don't like it, where you can just take it off.
Okay. Have you ever done like any resist, like anything under it that you peel off?
No, I have not. That's
I'm just
that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I might have to experiment with that. All right, let's just do. He's like, great.
He was sitting there just grinning like,
No, that's
oh,
perfect, that's, look,
another
that's why
idea.
you keep yourself around artists, you're gonna get more ideas, I think that's awesome.
Well, I do resist with glazes, and it makes some neat effects, and I was just thinking that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have put glaze in it before too.
Oh, really?
I have used glaze. I was
Well, I'm
like,
talking
"Ooh,
about,
what's gonna
I'm talking about
happen?"
ceramic glazing, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about like the glaze
Yeah, like
for
glaze,
like.
yeah.
I was
Painting
in the
glaze.
printing business for 25 years, so we had to play with colors and stuff like that,
Oh, yeah.
so that's half the fun.
I'll call him in there and I'm like, hey, I need a color combo. And he's like, you're the artist. And I'm like, yeah, but you're the inspiration. I need a color combo.
Well, you know,
I
Gabby,
use the force like I do everything.
Gabby that walked in, she's one of our art majors here at
Uh-huh.
Fowler. She's a sophomore this year. And, you know, she's in, you had design too, right?
Band too.
So they went through all that color theory and everything, and I love color theory, but the thing is, you know, sometimes when you learn too much color theory, it can hold, you know.
Well,
sometimes
that gets with my daughter because
Yeah.
my daughter was an art major and she's like, Mom, those colors. And I'm like, yes, they do go together. Leave me alone.
You learn
Sometimes
more
I'll
about-
just go in blindly and I'll just pick like 5 colors and just go,
You learn more
okay.
with your
go
eyes
with
than
it.
you do with anything else anyway.
And it really does become a lot more instinctive and a feel for it. You know, you just, you know, if all you can do is follow rules, it can get a little stifling. So it's sometimes to know color theory is great, but to also be able to.
Yeah, like red and blue when you put them together. Or actually, what was it that kept dirt muddying?
Red
The
and
red and
green.
green.
Red and green.
Red and green when I was doing my
Yeah.
Christmas
Red,
ornaments.
yeah, it was-
Because I actually put some of those, the big one I put on a cup turner. He fixed it so I could put that on there. And when I did the red and green, it just turned
Turn them up,
brown.
yeah. Now that's
the
color
brain.
theory right there.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, I
Yeah.
can't do red and green on the actual cup turner.
It's as much physics as it is color theory.
Oh,
because
yeah,
it's-
heck yeah.
you get the
Are blue and
process
orange,
first, and then you can
are
start
purple and yellow.
Yeah.
blend without mixing. Blending and mixing are different.
Alright, so, let's see.
Hair color is the same way. Somebody will do their hair at home and turn it green. We have to know how to make that hair brown.
Yeah.
And you put red on top.
Red and green make it pretty brown.
Yes, it will.
Yes, it does.
Cause my daughter does my hair and she'll get it too red sometimes. And I'm like, this is, and she'll go get yellow and I'm like,
Yellow
Yeah,
or
that would-
green.
what are you
I like the
doing?
green.
Alright, we're just gonna do this a simple one. I love my little leaf blower.
That is a serious thing.
And actually, you know what? I'm just gonna blow the blue up into it. But let's say that I don't like right there, which I don't really like right there. Don't be scared. Just
Break it off.
rake it off. Put some more on. Hopefully we have enough. I must blow it again. And that's much better. I like that much better.
Do you ever layer, like let this paint dry and then do another pour on top of that one?
No, I have not, but I have painted on top of floors,
Oh, yeah.
like done, like I was telling some of you about my quirky birds.
Yeah.
I did, record like that, and then I painted the birds with the all different colored feathers and the different faces and whatever. I've done a whole series of those too, and I
Don't-
did her kind of emo-y. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And gave her like a choker. Found an old piece of jewelry and gave her a choker, and then resined it.
If anybody wants to do records, don't go out and buy any, just come to my house.
I wish I had known you before I bought 50 off of eBay.
Well, I'm like her, I've got just a pile, I mean,
Look at all that piling up.
I bet you I got more than
I don't know, I've probably got 200 or so, maybe more.
And the more heat you put to it, the more cells will pop up.
That's just so much fun.
It is.
I can hang with you.
It is.
I did records one time, and I did them like Ole Miss colors, and Mississippi State colors, and LSU colors. And then I painted a tiger on one, a Mr. Dudetti on one, a Mr. Colonel on one, and a bulldog on one. And then I started trying to letter, which I don't do well.
I don't letter well either.
No, I don't letter.
We started to work with black and gold a little bit.